live and streaming.
Namaskar and a very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are very, very grateful to all our loyal viewers for joining us so diligently and graciously. I request all of you to please continue to ask maximum questions because due to the lag, sometimes we get questions after the episode is over. And we have got some smart people who send me mails after the episode. And by that time, our guest has already continued on some other session. So I request all of you that if you have any questions which you think the guest should address, immediately type in, but it has to be typed in on the FB page of Swayambhu. Because if the episode is shared by somebody else on some other account, I will not be able to see your questions. So your questions have to be shared on the Swayambhu FB page only. So thank you once again for your candid suggestions, candid mails. We love them and thank you so very much. Very, very grateful. We are on our 25th episode today.
Oh,
so I
wow.
think God is very kind. God is very kind.
That's good.
Yes, yes, yes. So ऐसे कहते हैं कि खुद को अपनी नजरों से गिराना छोड़ दो. खुद को अपनी नजरों से गिराना छोड़ दो. अगर कोई हमारी बात न समझे तो उसे समझाना छोड़ दो.
माशाल्लाह.
Easier said than done. Easier said than done. क्योंकि कभी कभी क्या होता है, हम दूसरों को तो समझा लेते हैं लेकिन खुद को समझाने के काबिल नहीं रहते. इतना डिप्रेस हो जाते हैं, इतना लो फील करते हैं कि हमें लगता है कि हमको हमसे कौन बचाए. तो देखते हैं हम कि हमको हमसे कौन बचाएगा. ये कलाबाजी होगी इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस के थ्रू. सो व्हाट इज दिस इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस? इज दैट रियली इंटेलिजेंस? सो वी हैव अ फैंटास्टिक गेस्ट टुडे, Dr. Prateek Surana ji. Namaskar and welcome, Dr. Prateek.
Namaskar, namaskar. Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be on your channel, Swayambhu, and I'm very delighted to be here. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Swayambhu is a social movement to help youngsters in the age of 20 to 30 to become self-sufficient. So is there any contribution? Is there any membership fees? No contribution, no commercial. What we need from you is your commitment, which begins with your communication. And then once we see your commitment, we will ensure that you are confident enough to become a Swayambhu through our internship options. So stay connected and let me introduce you to our fantastic guest today, Dr. Prateek Surana. He is a double PhD. He has a PhD from UK on emotional intelligence and he also has a PhD from NMIMS. He is an MBA, MCA, BA, BCom, author of multiple books, has published various articles and papers, multiple awards, right from International Achievers Award, Global CEO Award by International Business Academy, Young Leaders Award. He is an international business trainer, behavioral trainer. He is an expert coach on entrepreneurship, business strategist too. With PhD in emotional intelligence and 22 years of experience in training all around the world, it's a great pleasure and have Dr. Prateek with us today.
Thanks.
Sir,
Thanks.
सर, आपको जब मैंने स्वयंभू के बारे में डिस्कस किया आपके साथ, तो आपका विचार और ख्याल क्या था?
संगीता जी, सबसे पहले तो मैं ये कहूँ कि आपने जिस तरीके से मेरा परिचय दिया, मैं थोड़ा सा खुद को असहज महसूस कर रहा हूँ. ओके, सो आई एम फीलिंग अ लिटिल एम्बैरेस्ड. थैंक्स फॉर योर ग्रेशियस एंड वेरी काइंड वर्ड्स. जब आपने स्वयंभू के बारे में मुझे बताया, तब मेरा पहला ख्याल जो मेरे दिमाग में आया वो ये था कि काश ऐसी संस्था या ऐसा इनिशिएटिव या इस तरीके की कोई बात जब मैं पढ़ाई कर रहा था, मैं जिन दिनों में स्कूल में था, काश उस समय अगर ऐसा कुछ होता. तो शायद आज मैं और भी कुछ अलग होता। ये मेरा सबसे पहला ख्याल था। और दूसरा ख्याल ये आया संगीता जी कि आप उस समय कहाँ थी। ओके, ऑन अ लाइटर नोट। लेकिन सबसे पहला ख्याल ये आया कि मैं खुद भी बैक बेंचर रह चुका हूँ, और मैं हमेशा ये कहता हूँ कि मैं स्वयंभू जैसा अगर कोई उस समय प्लेटफॉर्म होता या उस समय कोई इस तरीके की कोई चीज होती, तो शायद मैं आज और भी कहीं बहुत पहले ही अपने सारी चीजों को समेट कर और भी काफी अच्छा निखर सकता।
सर, ऐसे कहा जाता है कि जो लोग अंदर से मर जाते हैं वही अक्सर दूसरों को राह दिखाते हैं। तो सर ये बताइए कि आप जब कॉलेज में थे तो तब आप कैसे स्टूडेंट थे, और आपको इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस ये कैसे आपको कनेक्ट हुआ, क्योंकि आपने किया है बीए, आपने किया है बीकॉम, तो बीकॉम के बच्चे ये सब कर सकते हैं। इट्स क्वाइट फैसिनेटिंग एंड डिलाइटफुल टू अंडरस्टैंड।
संगीता जी, आप मतलब मैं ये बताना चाहूंगा आपको और सभी दर्शकों को कि 12वीं कक्षा तक मैंने विज्ञान में पढ़ाई की है, और उसके बाद एक साल मैं अभियांत्रिकी के लिए, इंजीनियरिंग के लिए भी मैं गया। लेकिन उस एक साल में मुझे ऐसा लगा कि अगर मैं इंजीनियरिंग करने जा रहा हूँ, क्योंकि उस समय केवल 2 ही ऑप्शंस हुआ करते थे, अगर अच्छा ब्राइट करियर आपको करना है, या तो आप इंजीनियर बनिए या तो आप डॉक्टर बनिए। ओके, सीए भी उस समय उतना रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं था। लेकिन जब मैंने मतलब सोचा, जब मैं इंजीनियरिंग करने गया, उस समय कुछ हालात ऐसे हुए, मतलब कि मैं ये सोचने लगा कि अगर मैं इंजीनियर इस तरीके का बना, और इंजीनियरिंग में अगर पहली चीज तो मेरी कोई रुचि नहीं, मेरी दिलचस्पी नहीं। मेरी दिलचस्पी भाषाओं में, मेरी दिलचस्पी इतिहास और बहुत अलग अलग दूसरे विषयों में, विज्ञान को छोड़कर बाकी सारे विषयों में। तो उस समय मुझे ऐसा लगा कि शायद ये इंजीनियरिंग के लिए मैं बना नहीं हूँ। और एक दिन अचानक ये ख्याल मन में आया, और मतलब फर्स्ट ईयर की मेरी परीक्षाएं हो गई थी, प्रथम वर्ष की। उसके बाद जब मैं घर गया, उस समय पिताजी के साथ थोड़ा विचार विमर्श किया, और अचानक फिर मैंने बता दिया कि ये मुझे नहीं करना है, क्योंकि अगर मैं मान लीजिए इंजीनियर हुआ तो बहुत ही बुरा इंजीनियर हूँगा, और हो सकता है मैं खुद को और बाकी सभी लोगों को इस बोरियत और इस बुरेपन से बचाना चाहूंगा। तो इसलिए मैंने ये निश्चय कर लिया कि इंजीनियरिंग मुझे नहीं करनी है, और मैं अपने गांव वापिस आया, हिंगोली, जहाँ से मैं आता हूँ। मैं वहां पर वापिस आया, और फिर उसके बाद मैंने ये सोचा कि क्यों ना मैं उस विषय में ही शिक्षा दूं जिस विषय में मेरी जानकारी है और जिस विषय में मुझे रुचि है। स्वाभाविक सी बात थी कि वहां पर बीए मैंने वहां के कॉलेज में एडमिशन लिया, और फिर ये ध्यान में आया कि साथ ही साथ मतलब वाणिज्य की या वित्त की, कॉमर्स की जानकारी होना भी बिजनेस के लिए जरूरी है, क्योंकि तब तक मैं मेरे पिताजी के साथ उनके बिजनेस में थोड़ा बहुत वहां पर भी पार्टिसिपेट कर रहा था। तो मुझे ऐसा लगा कि कॉमर्स करना चाहिए, और इसके साथ साथ मैंने फिर कॉमर्स के लिए इंदिरा गांधी ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी, उस समय इग्नू नई नई लॉन्च हुई थी, तो वहां पर मैंने एडमिशन ली, और 2 यूनिवर्सिटी से अलग अलग 2 डिग्रीज करने की सोची। जब मैं कर रहा था आर्ट्स में, तो वो खैर इंग्लिश लिटरेचर था, जहाँ पर बहुत सारी मानवीय भावनाएं या अलग अलग पहलू, जहाँ पर इंसानी सोच के, इंसानी फितरत के आपको देखने को मिले, जिस तरीके के बिहेवियर्स से रिलेटेड काफी चीजें थी। तो जब मैंने देखा कि आप चाहे बिजनेस में हो, चाहे आप कोई जॉब करते हो, चाहे आप और कुछ करते हो, 80% आपका समय वहीं जाता है जहां लोग होते हैं। ओके, और लोगों को आपको अगर मैनेज करना है, लोगों के साथ आपको खुद की पटरी ठीक तरीके से बैठानी है, तो ये बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है कि लोगों को समझना। ओके, और लोगों को समझने का एक ही जरिया है कि उनकी भावनाओं को समझो। और धीरे धीरे ये इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस का इस तरीके से वो बातें खुलती गई। शायद उस समय इतनी अकल नहीं थी कि जो भी मैं सोच रहा हूँ या आज बोल रहा हूँ उसको इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस कहा जाए, ये उस समय शायद पता नहीं होता था। लेकिन ये होता था कि हमेशा मैं लोगों के जो इश्यूज हैं, चाहे वो बिजनेस हो, चाहे कॉलेज हो, चाहे स्कूल हो, ओके, लोगों में मैं काफी इंटरेस्टेड रहा करता।
अच्छा सर, ये बताइए कि आपने बताया कि यू आर फ्रॉम हिंगोली, तो यू आर ऑल्सो नाउ अ वर्ल्ड वाइड ट्रेनर। तो आप जब हिंदी में कॉन्वर्सेशन या कम्युनिकेशन करते हैं तो ये क्वालिफिकेशन, ये ट्रेनिंग, ये सब कैसे लेते हैं?
सबसे पहली चीज तो हिंदी मेरी मातृभाषा है, सो मुझे और कहीं जाने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ी, घर में ही हिंदी है। और इसका काफी हद तक श्रेय मेरे पिताजी और मेरे दादाजी और इन लोगों को है, जहाँ पर भाषा की शुद्धता और भाषा पर काफी कुछ जोर दिया गया। मेरे पिताजी भी एक समय अपने समय में कविताएं किया करते थे, तो इसके लिए जो पोषक वातावरण था वो लगभग घर में था। और जब कभी मैं बाहर कंट्रीज में या कहीं पर भी जाता हूँ, सो जैसे मैंने बताया कि भाषाओं में मेरी रुचि रही है, सो सारी भाषाओं को मैं उनके व्याकरण के तरीके से, उनकी बोलने के तरीके से समझने की कोशिश करता हूँ। और धीरे धीरे जिस जगह भी मैं जाता हूँ वहाँ का कल्चर, वहाँ का बिजनेस कल्चर मोर सो, ओके, वहाँ की व्यवस्था, वहाँ के लोगों के विचार, ये जानने की कोशिश ज्यादा से ज्यादा करता हूँ, लोगों से कनेक्ट करने की कोशिश करता हूँ। तो इससे इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस का एक एप्लीकेशन कह लीजिए आप, या लोगों के प्रति मेरी जागरूकता कह लीजिए, या एक तरीके की क्यूरियोसिटी कह लीजिए। ये सारी चीजों से ही फिर मैं अलग अलग भाषाओं में मेरी रुचि मैंने लेनी शुरू की। और फिर चाहे जहां तक हो, हर इंसान को उसकी भाषा में अगर कोई बात समझा दी जाए, या उससे उसकी भाषा में कुछ शब्दों में भी अगर हम बोल पाए, तो काफी अच्छा लगता है। तो इसलिए फिर मैंने मतलब बाकी भाषाओं पर भी ध्यान देना शुरू किया।
जी सर, तो आपको कितनी भाषाएं आती है?
भारत की 9 भाषाएं, अगर और फिर फॉरेन भाषा में हम, क्योंकि मैं अंग्रेजी अभी भी फॉरेन लैंग्वेज समझता हूँ उसको, सो इंग्लिश और बिगिनर लेवल की स्पेनिश, ऐसी टोटल 11 भाषा।
सो यू आर ऑलरेडी फ्लुएंट इन 11 लैंग्वेजेस। सर, तो आप जिस लैंग्वेज में बहुत ही कंफर्टेबल हो, इस लैंग्वेज में बताइए कि इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस आखिर है क्या, and why is it so important compared to other intelligence that we always speak about?
Okay, excellent question. So I am comfortable with every language that you want me to be, okay, out of these 9-11 languages. और चाहे मैं पंजाबी में बोलूँ या हिंदी में बोलूँ या अंग्रेजी में बोलूँ, मैं हमेशा दिल की बात कहता हूँ। और इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस सिर्फ दिल की बात है, ओके। Why emotional intelligence is important? A, because we all are emotional beings. We all are living beings. We always carry multiple emotions. People connect with people first before they connect with companies. So be it a company, be it a profession, be it your school, be it your college, if you're not emotionally connected with it, it doesn't work. Okay? So emotional intelligence is a different kind of smart intelligence. And it's ways different from your traditional academic intelligence in terms of understanding your own self, understanding others, connecting with others, getting things done from others, empathizing with others. In a nutshell, reasoning out your own emotions and others' emotions. So it's a beautiful science. Sorry.
Sir, how does a parent, or when you go for an interview, the employer, how will he identify whether the person is positively, strong on emotional quotient, or there is something lacking? As a parent, कैसे हम उनको चेक करें, या as a employer हम कैसे चेक करें?
So उसके कई तरीके हैं, okay. One is while having interviews, you can observe their body language, you can observe their expressions. If they are fearful, those expressions would be more than visible. Okay. और अगर मान लीजिए किसी चीज से उनको डर लग रहा है या किसी चीज में वो असहज महसूस कर रहे हैं, सो उनकी देह बोली या उनकी जो बॉडी लैंग्वेज है वहां पर वो इमीडिएट दिखाई देगा, या बात के लहजे में, या कुछ शब्द जो होते हैं जो बार बार आते हैं, है ना. So these are all symptoms of various emotions that we carry, whether it's facial expression, whether it's the sitting posture, whether it is the words that you use, the voice, pitch, volume, whatever you may call it, it's amply visible. Okay, and if somebody is trying to fake something, even that is caused only by being observant. So if I have to put it, okay, most of the cases people miss out on common sense. Okay, and emotional intelligence is more of common sense than anything else.
Sir, every parent feels that he knows his child from breath one, so they know the child, in and out. But sometimes the child and the parent are actually on two different planets. And the parent is not able to realize that there is some emotional, I don't want to use the word deficiency, or, so how does a parent understand that, as right from a kid? How will a parent understand that I need to build up emotional quotient in my kid, and how does it do it?
So there are three things. First and foremost, a parent has to stop believing that he knows his kid in and out. It's a myth. Because the parent may not know himself or herself in and out. Forget about the child. And it's all situational. The same person in different situations react differently. The child is not the same when he was 5 years old. He will not be the same when he would be 35 years old. We all keep evolving throughout our lives with different experiences, with different things altogether, right? So, those are the things that one has to keep absolutely away. There are multiple shades of gray in between. Do not look at white and black purely. And more than you know your child, try and understand his or her behavior, why he or she has behaved in a particular circumstance, during a particular time, in the way that he or she has. Okay? So if you do not know your own self better, you don't know how you react in various situations. If you do not have your controls over your own self, it's impossible that you would know your child. So the first thing is A, emotional connect. B, simply forget this notion that I know my child in and out. Nobody can know anybody in and out, and nobody can know he himself in a particular circumstance how he or she would react. You may know only a few instances, a few qualities of your child. Okay, but knowing somebody in and out, this claim itself does not stand in.
Sir, according to the circumstances, say we realize that the child is emotionally very weak, or cries at a drop of the hat, or if some criticism or insult, the child comes, crying at home and says, I'm not going out. So now the parent has understood that the child is emotionally very vulnerable. So how does the parent act, in this situation?
So let me tell you a few instances of my own life and how, I reacted. I'm sure. As a child, when I flunked in maths in 9th standard. Okay. अभी मैंने बताया कि मैं academically बहुत अच्छा नहीं था. So in 9th standard, I flunked, and that was the only day when I saw my mom cry. Somehow that got so much into my heart that I was emotionally very weak. I was crying, somebody talked something, and I would feel impacted, lower self-esteem, all those things would come. Okay, of course, the creative confidence came much later. At that point of time, it was like, I'm worthless because I had flunked 9th standard exam in maths. And on the top of it, when my mom cries, okay, it's like, I don't know what to do. I was almost about, the life is over for me. Right? So at that point of time, I somehow felt that this is not something that I would, want to do it. And that day I decided that if I can flunk, and because of my flunking in one subject, despite of the fact that all other subjects I'd scored beautiful marks, okay, if I can give some this kind of a trouble, then I need to work on myself first. Okay, that was the realization. I never knew that this was called emotional trauma or whatever at that point. And then I saw our maths teacher. I asked him a few things, and I requested him if he can invest more time with me, which he agreed. And then, I put myself in it. In 10th, okay, I scored 135 out of 150. And in 12th, I scored 96 out of 100 in maths. So humiliation is a big guru that one can deal. Now, there were two choices in front of me. A, either I leave studying altogether and simply, do things that I wouldn't want. B, probably show the world that, I might have flunked once, but then that cannot become my destiny forever. The second instance that I would like to put across is when I went for NMIMS Mobile. I was doing my master's. First semester, I scored pretty well. I was second in the college. And in the second semester, I was kicked out of the classroom called business communication. Okay, because I couldn't speak good English. I'm basically from a Marathi medium school, by the way. Okay, so that humiliation was very, very difficult to digest. So then and during those days there were no spoken English classes or whatever you may call it. So I started, seeking guidance from various people. Fortunately, some people were available in my immediate family. So, they helped me read newspapers, etc. I tried improving, and then accidentally I landed up in the same classroom conducting a seminar on business communication.
Okay.
So
that's absolute brilliant coincidence.
So it's only a way when you can turn it around. It just takes a while, and if you're focused and dedicated, it happens. Okay. At that point of time, I was like, whether I was almost on the verge of thinking of giving up my masters and coming back to my hometown. Okay, so there were two choices. Either I give up that or then this. And there were 80% chances that I might have given it up. Imagine from a small town, okay, you land into NMIMS. You're from Mumbai,
Right.
NMIMS,
Right.
even by Mumbai standards, how high flying and, have kind of a college it used to be.
Right.
So it was a big cultural shock for me. Eventually, it was like either I leave that college, okay, and then go back and say, forget it, life is over. Or then I say that, look, I need to fight back because I have hardly anything to lose.
Sir, when you said I have got hardly anything to lose, ऐसा भी कहा जाता है कि जो बहुत ही मजबूत लोग होते हैं, वो इसलिए मजबूत होते हैं because they have got nothing to lose. And
it depends on how you take it. Okay, if there's always a distinction. अभी कोविड के समय कई लोग मुझसे बात करते हैं कि तुम यहाँ क्यों करते हो, वो क्यों करते हो, तुम ऑफिस क्यों जाते हो, तुम ये क्यों करते हो. मैं कहता हूँ being fearful and being careful are two completely different things. I am careful but not fearful, and fear is the biggest enemy of every person's potential. Had maths created that fear in me in 9th and 10th standard, I would have given up studies. Had English created that fear during business communication lecture, okay, I would have not been where I am today.
Absolutely, sir.
You have to accept.
Sir, what you mentioned was wonderful, that you are more careful and not really fearful. So either your emotions get in your way or you ensure that it gets you on the way. Sir, मुझे ये बताइए if there is somebody who terms or thinks that he is emotionally very strong,
Hmm.
does it also mean that he is thick-skinned?
I'm sorry, I missed that word. He is 6.
If there is a person who thinks that he is emotionally very strong,
Hmm.
does it also mean that he is thick-skinned?
Doesn't mean that he's thick-skinned. Okay.
Hmm.
Understanding emotions, reasoning out with emotions, and expressing emotions are two completely different things.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the person who's claiming that he's emotionally very strong can be extremely vulnerable at times.
Hmm.
And the person who feels that he's emotionally very weak can be extremely strong if he is being put under the grind or is pushed to the limits.
Hmm.
So our emotions, we need to, I always say that there are 3 things. PAC,
Hmm.
pause. Pause is for understanding the emotions. A, accept.
Hmm.
Okay, this is the biggest step. Accept that you're getting angry, you're getting fearful, you're getting hyper, you're getting terrified, you're getting anxious, whatever.
Hmm.
Okay, accept. And then 3 is commit.
Hmm.
Okay, commit to change.
Hmm.
Once you pause, you understand, then you commit.
So, but what happens is when you're really feeling low and you feel the whole world is against you, then we hardly remember these acronyms or, remember what is the formula to get back to action. So when you are feeling low, you feel like, abhi mere duniya mein kuch bhi nahi bacha mere liye. So what is the thought we should have so that we can recover and think of these acronyms and then start again?
Sangeeta, at that point of time, simply allow yourself to be vulnerable. It's
Okay.
okay. Accept it.
Hmm.
If you are feeling low, do not be in the denial mode. First.
Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
2, it is absolutely okay to feel low.
Hmm.
There's nothing wrong. Highs and lows come in everybody's life.
Hmm.
And remember, these lows will teach you things that the highs don't. So it's a learning experience. I understand that it's easier said than done. Okay? But the only way to overcome vulnerability is to be vulnerable and experience vulnerability.
So
As
you
simple.
get many calls and people communicating with you about maybe suicidal tendencies.
Yes.
So what are the common reasons why they have these tendencies, and how do you take care? How do you handle them?
So, Sangeeta, first and foremost, it's absolutely normal to feel suicidal at times. I
Okay.
have
Okay.
felt I have felt it in my life many a times, to the
Hmm.
extent that I myself tried thrice, but I could not succeed.
Hmm.
Okay, so it's
Hmm.
very, very normal. Number one to start with.
Hmm.
Fortunately, I have volunteered for suicide prevention helpline around 8 years back.
Hmm.
Okay, and the
Hmm.
calls that I get, you'd be surprised, is
Hmm.
right from an 8-year-old to a 94-year-old, everybody in between.
Oh.
And the reason can be my mom does not allow me to go down and play with other
Hmm.
kids, or at 94 years, I have nobody to talk and I have accomplished everything, so there's no point in living.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
everything in between that I get. Remember,
Hmm.
the sole cause of suicide is depression.
Hmm.
Rest all are triggers.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the mom is not allowing me to play downstairs is not the
Hmm.
thought. It
Hmm.
is the feeling of denial of my right.
Hmm.
That has triggered the depression.
Right.
Okay? And this can be deep inside. So the best way would be to go meet a psychiatrist, meet a
Hmm.
psychologist,
Hmm.
consult,
Hmm.
understand, undergo a therapy.
Hmm.
Like you get hurt in hand and you
Hmm.
go to an orthopedic surgeon to treat
Hmm.
you, or you go to a
Hmm.
physiotherapist to treat
Hmm.
you. Likewise,
Hmm.
there's a spasm in your mind, in your mental
Hmm.
muscle, in your emotional
Hmm.
muscle. So you go to the
Hmm.
specialist and get it treated. It's no longer a social taboo.
Correct.
I mean, we have accepted the liberalization of the Western world in mid-90s, and we have opened up our markets, and we very much follow the Western way. In the Western countries, everybody goes to the consular. Now, if we have adapted to that lifestyle, why not go to a consular?
Correct. So you mentioned the word emotional muscle. So when we want to build our body, we know that we should go to the gym, and we should take proteins. We should have a diet which will help us to get that muscle in place. But when it is emotional muscle, so for a layman, is there something he can do? He can start with before he actually goes to the
Very
counselor or the
much.
psychiatrist?
Very much. Okay. First and foremost, there are various EQ tests available in the market. Okay. Like you know, before you go to the doctor, you conduct a blood test. Now blood test report tells you whether your hemoglobin is high or whether it's low or whether you have blood sugar or anything else. Likewise, the EQ report tells what kind of person you are emotionally. And emotionally, each of us are different at different times.
Right.
Okay. So get that report and then go to the psychologist or psychotherapist or a psychiatrist. It's absolutely. Building an emotional muscle is an everyday job, like you exercise every day. Okay. You have to be better than what you were yesterday emotionally. And the best way and the starting point that I always advocate is start maintaining a diary with 4 columns. And it's a very simple thing that I would advise that every layman can practice. 4 columns. Okay. First, write the incident. Okay. First column is incident. The second column is reaction. Third column is emotions. And fourth column is result. Now, the incident can be anything. Incident can be, I scored less marks in my exam. Or the incident can be because of lockdown, I cannot go to the school and meet my friends. Or incident can be my dad scolded me, okay, for not following a particular thing. Or I am addicted to phone and that's how my mom scolded me. You know, incident can be anything, okay. Immediately how I reacted, okay. I write in the second column called reaction. That I answered back my dad, or I simply threw things at my mom or whatever. Okay. Then the third column is emotions. At that point of time, what were the emotions which were associated with this? This is the most important column. Write as many emotions that you think you were at that point of time. Okay. And then the fourth column, what was the end result? End result was I could not concentrate on my studies, or I could not, meet my friends, and then I started feeling low, etc. All those things need to be recorded. This exercise every day before you go to the bed for the particular day. Continue this for 5 to 12 weeks at least.
Okay.
Okay. So that would help you to know yourself better. Okay. Eventually, after 2 to 3 weeks, your emotional muscle will start building because you would start understanding your own emotional pattern. And I always say, emotional intelligence is a skill that you need to practice for a very short time called your lifetime.
Okay.
Because life is short.
So I'll just repeat the points which you shared. So the first column is write down the incident, then the reaction. The most important is the emotion you felt and the end result. And this way you will slowly understand yourself and you will be self-aware. And once you are aware of your weaknesses, then you will start working on it.
Absolutely.
Am I on the right track?
Very much. 80% of emotional intelligence is about your own self than anybody else. Rest 20% is environmental, external, so on and so forth. Okay, all successful people across the globe in different fields are absolutely self-aware about themselves. That's how they are successful. Okay, I'd like to give an example here. Two great cricket players coached under the same coach, having the same cricketing skills. One was focused on the game, one was aware about his own strengths, weaknesses, one had a drive to improve, keep focus, keep going, do not get carried away by short-term success, or do not get upset with failure. He becomes god of cricket. The other one could not take failure in the right spirit, could not handle the short-term success, could not focus on the game, and we all know what happened to him. I'm sure you know whom I'm talking about.
Yes. Yes.
Now, the difference is only emotional intelligence and self-awareness. Both were given equal opportunities. Both were equally talented when it came to cricket. In fact, the second one was better. Both had the same coach. Now the result is in front of everyone.
Right, right. Actually, we have seen that. So what you need to do is, whatever bricks are hurled to you, gather them as stepping stones and build your dream castle.
Absolutely.
Sir, yes. Sir, but right from the beginning, since we are kids, we are programmed to enjoy the windfalls. We are programmed to enjoy success. But somehow failure and downfall is, it is like they are not addressed at all.
Yes.
It is like a white in the room. Nobody addresses that. So does that cause a problem in a later stage of life?
So unfortunately, Indian society is very, very success driven, if I have to put it. However, now the scene has started changing with a lot of startups failing up, and failure is no more a bad word. Okay. Of course, now things are changing, and it's okay to fail. If you look at the Western counterparts, Western countries, there are many incidents of failures. Okay. But then they are not looked upon as taboos not to talk about in hush-hush manner or whatever. And it doesn't matter if it's today's failure, tomorrow it could be extremely good success. But I always say a failure is a must. Okay. Because it teaches you many things. It teaches you to relook at your strengths, reassess yourself, realign yourself with the reality, and then take the pause and then move forward. So your biggest guru is your failure. Okay, but short-term success can derail you, no matter what the society sees. I mean, I remember when I stepped out of my hometown and I decided to come to Pune, establish the business, etc. People were full of criticism. You know how in small towns, the societies, etc., how things go, right?
Right.
So it was like, I was ridiculed for making a decision, etc. But, at that point of time, couple of failures which taught me that I need to ensure that, I need to do it for myself than anybody else. Okay, kept me going. And these are great failures where I learned. I mean, had I gone the other way, the same people who criticized me yesterday, okay, now come back, say that what a vision you had.
True.
So it's very relative, It doesn't really go that, today you failed and then you done. The quick learning and come back, accept the reality, be aware and improvise. That's the only way.
Correct. So I loved it when you told me that when you are successful, everything is vision, right? So nothing like success. Right.
I mean, that's how externally it is. But, the other factor that comes with success is you start becoming complacent. And that's the first step towards your failure. So every success lays a foundation for future failure.
Nobody addresses that.
Nobody addresses that.
Sir, what would you give more weightage to, IQ or EQ, and why?
So I always say that whatever I have learned is outside the classroom in the world.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
I mean, be it sports, be it art, be it connecting with people, be it any of my public speaking skills, be it anything. So, yes, academically, you need good scores to get into a better college or a school. Okay. But besides that, I really don't value it very high. Okay. How you perform at a later stage is always defined on how self-aware you are, how good relationship management skills you have, and how good you come across as somebody who can get the things done. And that is where EQ matters. So I always say that IQ can get you hired, or IQ can get you hired, but poor EQ can get you fired.
Oh, wow.
Simple.
Well said. Sir, is there any way we can insulate our emotions? Is that required? You mentioned earlier that we need to be vulnerable, except that, yes, I have these low thoughts. So,
Yeah.
is there any way we can insulate emotions?
For the time being, you can. You may not express, but that doesn't mean that you have insulated yourself. Okay. Even if you have internalized it, that means, that insulation doesn't work. Okay. So the best way would be to accept, move on. And it's okay. It's okay to get angry. It's okay to get frustrated. It's okay to feel anxiety, fear, whatever. But then keep your focus on the larger thing that you want, the results that you want. That's it.
Sir, is there some gender bias where emotional intelligence or emotional quotient is concerned?
Only in the mind.
Only in the
Nowhere
mind.
else.
So when they say that
Nowhere
men
else.
don't cry, is that does it hold any power?
They
Does
may
it hold any truth?
express. They may express emotions differently. Does not mean that they don't have them. Emotions are, emotional expression and emotional assimilation are two different things. Okay. Women may express it in a different manner. Men may express it in a different manner. Change of expression does not mean that the emotions are less or more. It's as simple as that, I display my wealth or I accumulate my wealth. The choice is mine. Okay.
Oh, that was very profound.
It doesn't really matter, and it's absolutely not in the gender. I have come across many women, and of course I know you, and I know how emotionally strong that you are. Okay, vis-a-vis various men who are emotionally extremely vulnerable and expressive. So this only is in the mind, nowhere else.
Okay, so there is no gender bias where emotional intelligence is concerned. Sir,
Absolutely
generally
not.
it so happens that when it's your birthday, you are in a good mood. So तब कोई कुछ भी कहे, we kind of अरे चलेगा, we ignore it. So it is said that when you are in a good mood, your reasoning skills and the way you respond is very positive, right? And your problem solving skills also improve. So is there something which we can do right in the morning so that we have a good mood throughout the day?
First and foremost, decide that you will be in the good mood, irrespective of whatever external circumstances might happen. Music helps in this case.
Okay.
Good music is a great mood elevator. Pursuing your hobby on me time is something that would really energize you. Okay, your hobby can be listening to music or talking to people or reading a book or anything. Okay, that would charge you throughout. Good exercise, because whenever you're exercising, our mind and body always work in tandem with each other, right? So there are various positive hormones like dopamine and serotonin, okay, that would flow in. That would give you a happy feeling. Okay. And vice versa. When you are happy, you would be more physically active as
Right.
well, right? So, these are things that probably you can. And always remember, it is the thought which is positive or negative. Emotions are emotions. They are neither positive nor negative. Now, the same happy feeling you can also tend to make you ignore a few things that you probably should be noticing. The example that you gave, I'm excited, so it doesn't matter what others talk about, right? But at the same time, I'm being careless. Others are trying to give me a hint. Okay, so now excitement, etc., those are all emotions unless they are regulated well and understood well. Okay, it wouldn't be something like the same example that I gave you about two cricket players applies.
So, for instance, you mentioned that you should listen to music, you should have some me time, you should exercise, feel happy, be active, all said and done. It is also important to express, right? But there
Very much.
now, right? So EQ is, you mentioned instances from the age of 8 to 84. So that's a wide, big age group. So
94, I said.
sometimes 94. So there are some people who may not have people around them to express, or they may think they don't have the right people to express. They may not have a counselor, who they can go to. So in such circumstances, what are they supposed to do? Say, let us talk
Right.
about adults. Yeah.
Right. So there are various support groups which are online available. You can seek the help of one of the support groups. It's always possible. Writing a diary would always help. Okay. About thoughts, emotions, etc. Okay. Always remember the expression of those emotions, whether they would be constructive or destructive, what effect they would carry. First, think about an impact and then customize your action. And what would be the long term impact it would have on you, your health, or whatever? Right? Because, I mean, you would see that many people make few decisions in a very impulsive manner. Right? I would, I would simply leave this town right away. I will leave my house right away. But what long term impact would it have? How would it impact your relationship with your loved ones? Would it make you feel better at a later stage? Okay, so that's how the first PAC, the pause, is very, very important here. Okay, that is the beginning of the regulation. Remember that famous incident where, Mike Tyson and Michael Holyfield's boxing championship fight, and, there was an uncontrolled aggression Mike Tyson had in terms of, fighting his opponent. Eventually, that, aggression went so big that he kind of bit off his ear and then landed up in jail for 14 years. It jeopardized his entire career. So this one impulsive, thoughtless reaction can cause the damage. The thought at that point was to score over my opponent. But then the uncontrolled expressions, created a disastrous impact that his entire career got jeopardized. So at that point of time, if you do not have somebody to express, you do not have access to counselors or psychotherapists or whatever, at that point of time, there are various support groups. If they are not available, write a blog, write a diary. I'm sure that's the least that we can do. Yeah. And once the thought is gone, after 3-4 hours, just read them. And if you still feel that they are applicable, keep them. Otherwise, simply tear them apart and forget about it.
Very well said, sir. Sir, when there is some criticism or insult for you, that is the time either we have this feeling of vengeance, or either we are big hearted and we forgive the person, and sometimes we don't forget it forever and carry that baggage. So which is the right emotion here? Vengeance,
It really depends on
forgiveness,
the,
forgetting it, or what?
first and foremost, decide what result that you want. Revenge in a sweet manner is always possible.
How is that?
Take an example that, during 11th and 12th standard, I had a classmate. She was 94 kgs at that point of time, 92 kgs. And I used to, she was my classmate, so I used to humiliate and, criticize and the look and body shaming that we call it, right? I did everything, okay? She said that, and I was very muscular then, okay? So, during 17, 18 years of age, you kind of, concentrate on your physique, on various other body shaming things. And then, I went on and I said, I used to be critical. And then today, she is a lifestyle consultant. She is 54 kgs for the last 16 years. Okay. And now she's the one who defines my diet.
Okay.
So that's the sweetest revenge that she has ever taken.
Now she throws her weight around in a different way.
Very much. And now it's me who has to work on it.
Right. Well said. Very good example. So, one more question, work related. There are conditions or say times in your career when you love A. A as in terms of a subject. Okay, you love a profile A. You like a profile B, but there is not much of a growth in, profile A. So should you pick B or should you pick A to keep yourself happy, and how will it go?
If you are unhappy doing a job, you will not succeed at it. Pick up B, there would be many growth opportunities in future. Everything would have growth opportunities. I'll give an example.
Whatever makes you happy.
I'll give an example of a famous Hindi poet called Kumar Vishwas. We all have heard him.
Yes.
Okay, हम सब जानते हैं कि वो इंजीनियरिंग से साहित्य में है.
जी.
है ना? अब engineering was not something that would make him happy. और लोग कहते थे कि हिंदी कवि ये सिर्फ बदहाली में जिएगा और बदहाली में मरेगा. लेकिन उन्होंने उसी हिंदी कविता के जोर पे इतनी बड़ी दौलत, शोहरत, सब कुछ कमाया. So growth opportunity हर जगह हो.
Fantastic example. एक example बता दिया, everything is clear. So I would like to thank our viewers who have joined us also. Thank you, Rohini. Thank you so much. Rohini Chitale is here. She says focused aspiration is needed to realize the inner strength and interest to lead successful life always. Bhavna Deo, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Deepa. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Kavita Patil. Thank you, Mrs. Preeti Desai. Thank you, Mrs. Pratibha. Thank you, Yogesh Kulkarni. And thank you, Rohit Lokhande. Thank you, Anil Gargji. Thank you. A very good afternoon. Thank you, Saroj Birud. Sir, एक क्वेश्चन है जो मैं लेना चाहती हूँ. एक पेरेंट है और एक टीचर है, Kavita Patil. She is having a question. Sir, nowadays young generation is so stubborn and not having any mood to listen to anybody or anything. How to tackle such children?
First and foremost, remember that they have every right to say what they want. They are independent human beings. Do not expect them to follow everything line by line. Simply tell them what you expect out of them. Make peace with it. Let them explore and find their own ways. Everybody finds their feet at some time or the other. Remember, children only have to be loved, not to be controlled. Okay? Second thing is they are stubborn, but at the same time, we are probably failing to communicate what we want out of them. So have a clear communication, and it's okay. At times there are bodily hormonal changes during teenage, so they will be stubborn. So stubbornness is something that we all as parents have to front and make peace with, but at the same time, make yourself amply clear in front of them that this is what is acceptable, this is what is not acceptable. Rather than getting angry on them and being aggressive, be assertive, neutral, say it, and if it is not acceptable to you, simply walk away from there. Not argue. Twice, thrice, 5 times, 6 times you do it, 7th time onwards, you'll see different results in such stubborn children. No point in screaming, yelling, shouting, getting angry. The only way to do it is simply say that this is not acceptable and I'm not going to tolerate it in a very neutral manner. Zip your mouth from there and move away. And then do not further insist on what they should be doing. And let them fail a couple of times. It's very important.
I think Mrs. Kavita Patil, you have understood what is to be done. And I hope your kids are not listening to you to this right now.
Well, they have already given up on me, so there's nothing that they can do now.
Sir, another question from Mr. Yogesh Kulkarni. Do you think that learning outside the class must be understood more by the parents, and what can they do for the same?
Absolutely. So I always say that we have 2 rules in our house, which are transgenerational. And this is probably the 4th generation that we are passing it on. We had a rule that every child in the house essentially has to take up 1 sport and 1 art.
Okay.
And there were reviews, those were taken on daily and weekly basis. What we are doing in sports and what we are doing in arts. Sports helps you connect with people, manage teams, work in teams, accept failure, accept various other things. Art will bring the best out of you, realize the best potential that you have. And there are many career opportunities in both of these. So even if these are not mainstream careers that you would choose, that would help you develop as a person, both emotionally as well as on people's side. Academic subjects, yes, they are important. I'm not saying they're not. But at the same time, it's not only what is there important. And I always say this, that in most of the academic subjects, we get marks. We get marks and not the knowledge. So look out for knowledge in those subjects. They are amazing subjects. Try and get the knowledge. And clearing exam is only a technique. I mean, I must open this up here that when I was in 12th standard, at that point of time, there was a pattern which was very famous called Latur pattern.
True.
Latur pattern in Maharashtra was very, very famous. So when I went to engineering, during one practical session, I had a guy next to me who was absolutely clueless about a practical. And I asked him the question why, and he said that he cannot calculate the least count of vernier caliper or screw gauge, which we learned in 8th standard. And I asked him his PCM group, and he says he has scored 98%. So I was like, if he is going to be an engineer, I mean, are we really producing good engineers or only, Chatur Ramlingams of 3 Idiots? So I mean, if I would love that subject, I would know everything about it, right?
Right.
So unless I understand that subject, we are not here. And the irony of our system is we are too much focused on the syllabus that one has to go through. Okay. So the teachers are busy teaching the subjects and not the students. Right. The students are busy completing the syllabus and not understanding it. And we all are driven by grades and marks, etc. So more than that, whatever I have learned outside the classroom are more valuable for my future. But whatever I learn in the classroom with a lot of interest, okay, is what would take me academically wherever I want.
Right. So that is why we are giving stress on internship, sir, so that our aspiring Swayambhus, they understand that you are not going to be gauged on the basis of marks forever. We will help
Yes.
you to get on-the-job training so that you can identify your strength in a better manner, work,
Great.
learn, and then be self-confident by believing yourself. So that was a great answer, sir. Sir, may I take a few more questions?
Please go ahead.
Sir, there is a
And
question.
I have a request,
Yes, sir.
Sangeeta.
Yes, sir.
Okay, don't call me sir. I mean, I'm yet to be crowned by the British Queen with the knighthood.
Amen. May that happen very soon.
Right.
A question from Mrs. Rohini Chitle. How does disciplined way of attitude according to age factor improve quickly on emotional health?
I mean, I'm sorry, I missed that part. The
How
discipline
does
was.
how does disciplined way of attitude according to age factor can improve quickly on your emotional health?
First and foremost, discipline is always strict norms, do's and don'ts. Correct? If something is not to be done, okay, I need to be told that why this should not be done. Okay. For example, I shouldn't be smoking. But why? Okay. I shouldn't be smoking because it's cancerous. Okay. It reduces my immunity. Right. Tell them why. And then make them reason with that emotion. Okay. Merely dictating rules and regulation does not help. I should be on time. Okay. For my classes or for my meetings at work. Okay, the reason is that way I would be respecting everybody's time. Okay, and that way, that discipline will help me to be more organized in whatever I do. Okay, and lack of discipline, probably I would miss out on a lot of other things that I would, and it's disrespectful towards others. So the moment I understand the consequences, the disrespectful things, or if somebody would treat me in that fashion, how would I feel? Eventually, you become emotionally intelligent. So these are not vice versa. This is not this versus that. This is both.
Well said, sir. Sir, one more question from Mrs. Bhavna Deo. Is the EQ report of the same person if he or she is angry or in depression, or when he is she in normal? Maybe she's trying to say, is the EQ report of the same person the same even if he is angry at that point of time, or even if he is normal
Yes.
at that point of time?
So we always say that if you are charged up, excited, angry, frustrated, or any kind of emotional distress, do not appear for EQ test at that time.
Oh, okay.
Okay. EQ is a measurement. Okay. It's a scale. So it's like if you have just smoked, do not go for a stress test. Okay. For an ECG, it would not give you the right result.
Very good question, Bhavna. Very good. So I think you should get the Hangyo ice cream for the best question today. It's been a long time since we had some wonderful questions. And Bhavna, congratulations. So you win the hung your ice cream hamper. Kudos. Sir, one last question, if I may.
Please.
Sir, our generation of parents are confused whether we should be friends with our kids or whether we should be disciplinarian like our parents were, or whether we should get into helicopter parenting. So there is a big confusion of parents. Either they are too friendly or too dictatorial, or too much of helicopter parenting happening. So this confusion of parents happens in I think all cultures, or does it happen specifically in India? And is it necessary to be friends with your kids, or you should be a parent only?
First and foremost, this is not friends versus parents or friends versus disciplinarian, friends versus the discipline versus helicopter approach or whatever. It is all situation. At times you have to be friends. At times you need to be disciplinarian. At times you need to be watching them from a distance. So, there's no white and black here. There are multiple shades of gray. And more than the approach, I would only say, what is your acceptance of your children, their behaviors. It's very important to connect with them and understand why they are behaving the way they are. Once you understand the motive behind that action, then you may take the approach whether, you would want to be more disciplinarian and less friendly, or whether you want to be more friendly and less, parenting or whatever. So depends on situation, depends on circumstances, depends on the reasons why they are behaving the way they are. In my opinion, at different age groups, different things would work. And same goes in different circumstances. Okay, take an example that one child feels too much pressurized during exams. Okay, and because there are a lot of expectations that the parents have from the child, and then the parent becomes very, very dictatorial, saying that I would want you to be studying 8 hours or 12 hours or 16 hours, etc. And he is least interested in that subject. Okay, so it's like you are getting into a mode where, as a boss, you are demanding performance, okay, from your colleague without considering the mental health or mental state or the productivity of that employee of yours. So you need to understand what are the pain points that the child has in terms of, not doing studies for 8 hours or 12 hours. Okay. And if he can finish that subject in 2 hours, and if he can do a good job, good justice to it, that's what matters. Okay, हमारे ज़माने में वाली चीजें नहीं चलती है.
Correct. Present is more important. Present is more important.
I mean, just trying to understand the circumstances. They are in different circumstances. Their interest levels would be different. Their reasons would be different. So first try and understand and look at the reason why they would want. I always say why is more important than what.
Sir, is emotional quotient also genetically inherited from parents?
No.
No, not at all?
No, not at all. You would have extremely composed child of an extremely angry parent. But external circumstances may impact it. In terms of conditioning, yes. But, it is not hereditary.
Oh, it is not hereditary.
Definitely not.
Okay.
I mean, otherwise we wouldn't have stories where an auto rickshaw driver's son has become a CA, or commercial sex worker's daughter has cleared, has done MBBS with flying colors, or a jail inmate's child has done extremely well in IAS exams. We have such examples. And that clearly shows that, EQ has nothing to do with your parenting or your heredity, but yes, the environment, if it is constantly abusive, constantly difficult to stay in,
Right.
it impacts EQ. But if your father was angry, and because of that you would be further angry, or you would be equally bad in terms of your temper, there are no direct evidences to show that.
Okay. Okay. Oh, so that definitely throws light on a fact that, when they say that if the parent has been spanking the kid, that when the kid becomes a parent, he is going to spank his kid too. There is
Not
no truth
necessarily.
in that.
In fact, I have come across the opposite cases. Because the parent has been hitting the child became extremely liberal parent, saying that whatever happened with me during my childhood, I wouldn't let that happen with my child.
So again, this is the way he responded, and again, this is wisdom and emotional intelligence, is it not?
Absolutely, absolutely. In a nutshell, this is something, different things would have different impact on different people. So there's no 2 + 2 4 here.
So the subject is so sensitive and so vast, but we need to thank you for your time and for graciously answering to
Thank you.
every
Thank you very
question
much. Thank
that
you.
was coming across to you.
It indeed was a pleasure. Okay, having a conversation with you after many years, of course, and it was lovely. And thanks to everybody. Thanks for all the support. Thanks. I forgot his name.
Rohit Lokhande.
Rohit Lokhande, and everybody for asking your questions. And I'd be very happy in case you would want to go through my YouTube channel, where there are multiple videos on emotional intelligence, and there are various articles, etc. Thank you.
So one last message which you would like to give to our aspiring Swayambhus, because our tagline is transform the backbenchers to front runners. So any message you would like to give, sir?
So the best thing that I would want to tell you is I have been backbencher myself. Okay. And it's an absolute pleasure to be a backbencher because you guys are more creative. Okay. You can see things outside the classroom which no other can. All right. So first and foremost, the only message that I have is just know yourself, accept yourself, and there's no such dearth of things that you cannot do. Okay, there are multiple things that you can do. Believe in yourself. That's it.
Thank you for your message, sir, and thank you, viewers. Thank you all the aspiring Swayambhus who have joined us. Thank you all the Swayambhus who have joined us too. We have got wonderful mentors who are always with us. Thank you for your questions. Stay connected and God bless you. See you tomorrow again at 3 p.m. We are going to meet a very renowned journalist tomorrow. So stay tuned on and understand how his journey was so beautiful and inspiring that we will be wowed when we listen to his story. So God bless and namaskar to all. Jai Hind.